kind of touch on this, and then there's one other thing. 3:25 says, "Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh." So be not afraid of sudden fear. Don't be afraid that people are just going to run up and shoot you, right? I mean, seriously, in the Lord, that's how we should be. Because though somebody can run up on me, like what are the odds that it's just going to happen, right? One. And then two, I have to trust that God's my safety. I can't. Had the guy been carrying who was going into work, there was nothing he could have done, right? He got shot without provoking, right? Nobody provoked him to do anything. He just ran up on him and shot him. So carrying a gun isn't necessarily the fix, right? It's just that your walk in the Lord is going to keep you safe. Also, I just went too far. Oh, wait, that's not it. Sorry. Okay, chapter 21, verse 31. "The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord." Right? That's, you're doing everything your part to get ready, right? The soldier's getting his horse ready, right? He's getting prepared, but safety is of the Lord, right? He's preparing himself for the battle, not just himself, but his horse and everything. But his safety isn't in the horse, and it's not in his armor. It's of the Lord, right? And that's how we kind of have to live our lives. Otherwise, man, we live in fear, and we've not been given the spirit of fear, right? But the sound mind and of power and all that. That's just a freebie. So I've been going through trying to organize the Proverbs from chapter 10 to chapter 29-ish. It's hard to wrap your head around. To keep teaching it through, I don't want to go through and just read it verse by verse by verse at this point. I feel like the first 9 has been good enough. I feel like we've gotten the gist of what, right? God has been trying to show us this battle of good and evil, essentially, right? The righteous, the wisdom, and the foolish. There, thank you. My brain just was like non-righteous. Yeah, the non-righteous people, and in all of that, I have an entire list. Parents, money, wealth, laziness, giving, a man's gift, greed, wickedness, the soul of the wicked, the robbery of the wicked, the just, some that seemeth just, some knowledge, wisdom, a wise man, a wise son, a wise servant, the righteous, keeps instruction, like I've been trying to break down every verse and what's it talking about, so I can categorize it, so I can kind of know generally what it's speaking of. And that, again, that's probably more than I should have bitten off. But I've gotten pretty far. I've gotten to chapter 22, which is pretty good from 10. In that, right, I'm trying to figure out, like, what do I teach you guys, right? Like, there's too much here to just give it to you all at once. The first thing that I would highly recommend is listening or reading a proverb a day. There's 31 chapters, right? And in the months that there aren't 31 days, on the last day of the month, read the last chapters, whatever that is. If it's 30 and 31, or if it's in February, then it's going to be 29 or 28, 29, 20, 30, 31. But the more you get these in your head, the more they will start to speak to you and through you, right? Because sometimes some of the wisdom from God, we have to kind of live a little more life to really grasp what he's trying to teach us. That being said, I did put together a little bit of stuff. Let's turn to Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12. Proverbs 14, verse 12. "There is a way which seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." Now, Proverbs 16, verse 25. You will notice it's exactly the same. "There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." Like, okay, well, what way is this, right? What are we talking? What? This seems crazy. So how we as humans think naturally is not correct, right? According to God and the Proverbs here through Solomon, there is a way that seemeth right. We think things should go a certain way, but God's like, no, it's the opposite of the way we think. That's why there's so many contrasting things in this Proverbs, and there's it kind of plays on each other because we think that there's a certain way that it's supposed to be. Kind of like Pastor Christian talked about this morning, the Jewish leaders, the Pharisees of the day, the scribes and Pharisees, and how they thought that if they washed their hands before they ate, they would be righteous, right? And Jesus told them, no, what's in your heart, right? What's inside is what matters, not what's on the outside. But that's all we see, so that's all we tend to care about as people. Not we, you specifically, but in general, just people. I'm not trying to imply that you guys think this way in specifically, but just that people do. And then look in chapter 16, verse 2. All the ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits. God knows us, right? God knows who we are inside, who we actually are. I use this illustration with my kids. So somebody's looking at your phone, right? You're kind of watching them, making sure that they're not flipping through things they're not supposed to, right? It doesn't matter if there's anything on your phone or not. It's just, I don't know what it is about our phone. I've gotten to the point now where I can hand my phone to my kids and my wife, where it's like I don't feel that anymore. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? But it's taken years to get to that point. But that's not how God is. God's not trying to grab our phone to see it. He's screen sharing with our phone. He sees every little thing that we do with our phones. And then he knows what's in our minds when we're doing whatever we're doing. It's way more than screen sharing, right? Because if somebody was screen sharing with you while you were flipping through your day, right, they would see what you're up to. But they don't know your thoughts. God knows your thoughts. And knowing our thoughts, God knows, right, who we are. Isaiah 55. Verse 8 and 9, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Right? God's ways are above our ways. We have a way we think, and then God's way is a different standard. So, right, what do we do? You think about giving, it's almost the opposite, right? In order to get something, we have to give, right? It's the opposite. I used to think, okay, I'll give out of my abundance, or I'll give out if I have some extra, maybe I'll kind of slide a little bit over God's way. Oh, I got some extra, now I can kind of give a little. It's like, no, you have to give and then pray and trust that God will provide. And that's a tough thing to do. It's really hard. That's a lot of faith. But that's what it is, right? That's what we're supposed to be trying to live, is a faith-filled life where we're trusting God, but it's understanding that it's opposite of the way we think and feel. Let's look at verse. I just have a couple of here that kind of go through these. Verse 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Well, what kind of ways? Proverbs 20:23. Divers weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. So a false balance is not good. A fair balance is good, right? What does that mean? That means don't try to tip the scales. Don't try to cheat your way through something, right? Where you're trying to nudge it your certain way, or you're trying to get a certain thing. The grocery store where you make the thing a little lighter so you don't have to pay as much money for it. Or you try to stuff something in a package and you buy just the one thing. When I was a kid, that's what my dad did. We went to buy a part for the auto store or something for the house. I don't remember what it was. But we're in the section, we're looking for all the stuff, and he finds one thing and he's doing something, he gets another thing and he puts the one thing in the box and goes up to buy it. And he stole it, right? And that was the example that I was given. Now, I'm sure he wasn't telling me necessarily to steal, but he was telling me to steal, right? But we're not supposed to steal. Now, we would say no to stealing in that sense, but are we stealing our time from our work sometimes? Where we should be focused on work, but we're trying to do other things, have friendships, sit on our phone, watch movies. Like, I get it. I have a job where there are days where I have literally nothing to do. Like, not like, well, I could be. No, there's just nothing to do. So yeah, if you're then that's the time to do something. Find something to do with your time. But when there's days when there is something for me to do and I'm sitting over there doing nothing, like, okay, now I'm cheating, right? Not just cheating the company, I'm really cheating myself. What I have found for me personally is if I work hard enough that I believe I work as hard as I believe I should be working, then the rest will take care of itself, right? But if I'm cheating even within myself, then I'm going to have issues with people, because now my issues are going to be work. Oh, well, we're saying I don't work, or now I have to prove myself that I'm working all the time. And man, that stuff is not fun to live at work. I've done that. And yeah, it's not fun to be balanced, trying to compare yourself with everybody. Am I doing enough for everyone to leave me alone, but not too much, or I'm look like I'm the guy. I don't care anymore. I just do work. Like, I got work to do, I do it. It's what I'm there to do, right? As much as work is important, work isn't everything. It's not. It can't be, because if it is, then we're in trouble, right? Work is work. If you don't like it, change it. Now, there's a couple things you can do about changing. You can change your job, but sometimes it's not so simple, right? We can't just quit our job and go get a new one. It doesn't work like that. There may be times where you can do that, but so you can change your job, but you can also change yourself, right? And so that's where we have to ask ourselves. If it's the job situation that needs to change, then pray and ask God to help you to find the right job, right? And then of course, at that moment, now you're praying for it. Now you really got to be trying to do it, right? It's one thing to be praying and just hoping that God will just provide you with an opportunity that's perfect in your lap. But why not be doing it while you're praying for it, right? Putting out the effort and then asking God to it's a balance though, right? You have to try, but not depend upon your own self. You have to trust that God's going to provide the right opportunities. Like, okay, I'm going to start looking for a job for me. God, help guide my thoughts to find the right job. Help me to communicate and get the right position, right place at the right time. And you start stepping forward in faith, and then all of a sudden opportunities will come and God will put something right there. But man, had you sat like this and chilled, you wouldn't have had that chance. It's just not going to happen that way. I know, I've tried it. Just tried it. I've been trying to get a new job for a long time. I've been applying for jobs for forever. I've applied for probably over 100 jobs in the last 2 years. I've gotten 0 of them. I've had 4 interviews, I think. But got no job. No new job, shall I say. Now I'm a lead and all that, whatever. But I don't think I just don't care. Like, I care about the work. I care about the people. I don't really care about the work, but I care that it gets done, per se. Actually, I don't know if I care if it gets done. Like, I'm not going to stay and do it if no one's doing it. I mean, I'll help you, but man, it's hard. It's really hard to care more than you're supposed to. Well, that's the thing. You have to care to an extent, because otherwise you're just not going to put your effort in. So you have to care about something. So what I did is I just cared about my work, person. But now it's not I'm fixing other people's problems. So now I have to care a little bit more. But anyways, I had a couple of things left. Proverbs 16:9, a man's heart deviseth his ways, but the Lord directeth his steps. 16:3, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Go to God. God is your direction, right? What are we supposed to be doing? Let me put it to you this way. I'm pretty sure you already know what you're supposed to be doing. It's just not, are we actually doing what we're supposed to be doing? It's this group here, it's not that you don't know, right? It's not that you don't know certain things, but it's the application of. So you got to start somewhere, right? And no better place than to start is now, and move forward from here. And don't worry about where you are and where you were and all that stuff. Just go forward, right? Trust that God will provide the opportunities and all the right stuff. He's going to take care. Don't worry about sudden fear, right? Trust in God. He's going to take care of you. Let's move forward as young people, as people in this world, so we don't get shot at or get shot. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I want the best for you guys. I want you guys to grow in the Lord. I don't want your ways to be unto death, right? I want your ways to be right. I want your ways to be fulfilling. I want your ways to please God and man, right? So